Alright, I love One Piece just as much as the other guy, but we gotta admit that there are some stinkers and there are some absolute bangers. So today I'm going to rank the worst arc to the very best arc. In my opinion, is the definitive opinion, and if you disagree, you're not a real human being that lives on Earth, and I have the only correct opinion. Starting off from very last place, I have Punk Hazard, which is absolute buns. Absolute buns. And let me tell you why. There is absolutely nothing about this arc that is interesting in any way, shape, or form. It is just simply to set up Dressrosa, set up the Smile Fruits and all that, and like the sad machine. Also setting up Kaido, which is cool. Law has some cool moments. Virgo is trash. I mean, full body hockey and all that, that's cool. Whatever. It is just so cheeks, bro. Caesar Clown and his stupid laugh. I hate Caesar Clown. I like him Dressrosa and Whole Cake, but in Punk Hazard, I hate him. Like, every character is just so... I despise it. I don't care about the little kids. I don't care about any of it. The Yeti brothers, just any of it. All of it is just so boring, except for the end with Aokiji and Doflamingo. That's it. Everything else is just buns. Buns. Number 31, Syrup Village. Syrup Village, man. It's such a tragedy that Syrup Village is so early on in One Piece. And I'm guessing it turns off a lot of people to the show because on one hand, actually no, there's no upsides to it. Unlike Punk Hazard, that's just personal bias. Syrup Village there's no upsides to it. I'm being like dead serious. Usopp's backstory is uninspired. What, his mom had cancer? Like what? I don't know, bro. I mean, there's the Miablin brothers, and they're so buns and cheeks that you just love them because it's the Miablin brothers, bro. I don't remember what their names were. They were so peak, but besides that, I hate everything except for Django. Django's fire. 1, 2, Django. That's pretty much it. It's just a buns arc. Cheeks. Absolute cheeks. In 30th place, I have Orange Town. Now, from here on out, the arcs aren't necessarily bad. I just feel like they're like maybe 4 out of 10 is not great. But still, like, Orange Town was just boring. It's not bad. It's just not anything special. It's very boring, I'd say. And I think it's fine because it doesn't last long. I think it was like, what, 4 episodes at the max? So it's cool. Like, you get to learn Buggy, and you know, Buggy's just the genuine GOAT. Buggy D streamer, you know what I mean? Like he's the best. So yeah, it's just kind of boring. But yeah, it's not bad though. In 29th place, I have Little Garden. Now, Little Garden is on rewatch. I rewatched it recently. It did not hit. I'm not gonna lie. Except for Mr. 3, nothing else was like doing it for me. The Giants. I mean, okay, so the Giants set up Elbaf. Oh yeah, speaking of Elbaf is not included in this video since the arc has not wrapped up in the manga. But yeah, it's Little Garden sets up Elbaf, and that's kind of it. That's all it does. Mr. 3 and setting up Elbaf. Dory and Broggy are cool, but that's about it. Yeah, it's just alright. Yeah, I wasn't too interested. At number 28, I have Reverse Mountain. Not much to say. It's 2 episodes long, so I don't know, man. Laboon. He's pretty cool. Now, next up, I got Whiskey Peak. Now, on rewatch, Whiskey Peak actually wasn't that bad. It's only 4 episodes. Like, you have Mr. 9, and I like Mr. 9 because his only power is that he's an acrobatic and he has 2 baseball bats, and he somehow made his way to the top of the ranks of Baroque Works, and I don't know how he did it. But you meet Vivi. They start talking about the 7 Warlords of the Sea for the first time. You get Zoro versus 100 bounty hunters. But the one downside is Luffy versus Zoro, which made absolutely 0 sense for the characters. And honestly, I don't even see them as canon. I don't think that fight ever even happened in the canon, honestly. Like, I don't even see it as that. But besides the Luffy and Zoro fight, it was solid. I didn't mind it. I thought it was fine. But realistically, it's not amazing, though. But I slightly enjoyed it. Number 26, I got Romance Dawn. It is a solid introduction to the story. You meet Luffy. You meet Zoro. I mean, you see Alvida, you see Helmeppo, and you meet the twink that is Kobe. You know what I mean? It's a solid introduction to the story. and I don't really see any problems with it. It kind of shows who the characters are and like what their personalities are like decently well. And yeah, Zoro joins the crew. I think it's a nice introduction to the series itself. So 26. I'm probably gonna have to give 25th place to Baratie, mainly because of the Mihawk and Zoro fight, and that's kind of the only reason why it's this high up. Because without it, you have Don Krieg and Gin, and they're not. Well, Don Krieg is just something about that guy is funny. You have Pearl. Pearl, man, that's my go right there. Pearl is Pearl. You know what I mean? But like, you know, Sanji. Actually, no, Sanji backstory. The Sanji backstory is pretty solid. Although it's not even the full backstory, obviously. But like, it's not bad. It's a solid backstory with Zeph and stuff. So like, I like Sanji in Baratie, just Mihawk and Zoro, and Sanji, and that's kind of it. At number 24, I have Post Enies Lobby, and it's like there's important lore in Post Enies Lobby. Like you meet like Luffy's grandpa, you meet Garp, and you see Kobe and Helmeppo after like 200 episodes or something like that. And like, so it's cool to see everyone. And you get Ace with his Blackbeard, which is a great moment. It sets up, you know, Marineford and that whole saga of stuff. And he gets Shanks and Whitebeard meeting, which is always nice to see those two. Like it's kind of one of those lore drop arcs that isn't have like it has a bunch in it, but not like actual story bits. It's just kind of setting up stuff, which I enjoy, but it's nothing insane. So yeah, at number 23, I have Loguetown. Now Loguetown is like I like Loguetown because it has you know, Return of Buggy the goats, the absolute goats of One Piece. You can see Alvida again. I kind of didn't like the middle of it though. Like you get Usopp and like versus Daddy the father or whatever, and he's just like that was just okay. Like it's just them shopping. So like until the end, which like so it's like I don't know. Loguetown's not that crazy, but you see Dragon, you know, you see Dragon, and like but Dragon's a bum. But besides that, like I don't know, man. There's not much to say about Loguetown. Okay, actually no, you do see Roger's execution, and you see Ask the question, and that's cool. It's just Luffy almost getting executed. You see Smoker, he's also bummed. You see a lot of bums in this arc. You know, you notice that there's a lot of bums in Loguetown. But honestly, all around, just a nice like maybe 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10 arc. At number 22, I have Long Ring Long Land, the most overhated arc in the entire show. I understand when people don't like it, but like, it has Foxy. It's Foxy. It's the best. And then also at the end of the arc, you have Aokiji for the first time, or Kuzan, whatever you want to call him. Like, bro, I had fun watching this. It's just a good fun arc. It's not, yes, it's objectively not amazing, but it's like I had fun watching it. It didn't drag for me because I got it done with like I watched it really quickly, so like it didn't feel dragged to me. So like I had fun watching it. You have like Afro Luffy, bro. That alone puts it at number 22, bro. At number 21, I have Drum Island. Drum Island, I have a very mixed opinion on, because on one hand, Chopper's backstory and Dr. Hero look, and you know his famous quote, you know, when does a man die? Not when he's poisoned, not when he's, you know, whatever. A man dies when he's forgotten, and then he dies, and like, you know, Chop, like, man, the whole thing with Chopper's backstory alone is just is great. It's great stuff. They have Wapol, which Wapol is funny, but realistically he's not a good villain. And luckily the fight didn't last very long. So, and I like Luffy climbing up the mountain trying to like carrying 2 straw hats. Like that was pretty cool. But besides, like, it's a nice arc that's carried by its backstory, and everything else is just kind of okay. And at number 20, I have Zoe. Now, Zoe, I don't really remember much about Zoe. It's been a minute since I've seen it. You know, Raizo is safe. That's a nice reveal. That's pretty cool. Like, oh dang, I actually didn't think that was gonna happen, because they went to above and beyond to protect him. I genuinely thought that Raizo was not there, so that was pretty interesting. Like, dang, like they went above and beyond, and like they did to extreme lengths to protect Raizo. That's all I remember. Like Jack pulled up for a little bit and Zunisha like fended him off. Like that was okay. We see Momonosuke kind of like using his voice power, that the same thing that Luffy and Roger had. It's kind of interesting. You see like Momonosuke is kind of like a chosen one. but it's just kind of a setup arc. Meet Carrot, you see Pedro for the first time, but you know, like besides that, solid arc, and it's kind of like, I don't know, compared to the ones in between like Dressrosa and Whole Cake, it just kind of falls compared to those two. Number 19, Amazon Lily. I'm currently actually rereading Amazon Lily. I'm in the middle of it, and I'm having fun. Like Amazon Lily is funny, and it like sets up Marineford decently. It's the first time that Luffy hears about Ace even like being set up to be executed, and like I had good fun. You see Boa Hancock for the first time, and she's fun. You know, she has a decent backstory we hear about, and like, you know, Luffy's dynamic with all the people on the island is actually very entertaining. There's nothing crazy about it, but I thought, since it's short, it's like what, 8 episodes at most. Like, it's a short arc, and it's entertaining. So like, you know, all around, nothing really bad about it, and mostly positives. I can't think of any negatives about it. At number 18, I have Post-War. Now, Post-War would be higher up if it wasn't for Luffy and Ace and Sabo's backstory. If it wasn't so prolonged. I feel like the whole Gray Terminal, like that just kind of, like, it was good, but it wasn't that good. It was fine, but like when I think of Post-War, I think of a little bit of that, but mainly like kind of just the Straw Hats doing their own thing in their own places. We see what they're doing, and like but there was great moments like you know, Jinbei snapping Luffy out of it, like, what do you still have? And he's like, I still have my friends. And then also Luffy going back to Marineford to honor Ace and like ringing the bell to usher in a new era was like, there's cool moments, and we get a little glimpse of Rayleigh training Luffy at the end. So Post-War could have been good. I just think if the backstory with Sabo, Ace, and Luffy wasn't so dragged, I think it was a little like, it was like what, like 12, 13 episodes. Like, come on, man, it's not that cool, you know, for it to be like that long. So yeah. Number 17, I have Return to Sabaody. Purely just because of how hype it was. You're coming back off of Post-War and Marineford, and you want to see what are the Straw Hats looking like after 2 years. And it is just so like cool to see them flex off their new powers and stuff. You see their new looks and stuff. And it's a good, like, you say goodbye to Rayleigh. Luffy says goodbye to Rayleigh, and like it's a nice send off to Rayleigh and Perona and all that. We see Kuma protecting the ship for 2 years, which kind of foreshadows stuff in Egghead a little bit, like in like why he's helping out and like, you know. So it was just purely just because of how hype it was to see all the Straw Hats back together after so long. At number 16, I got Reverie. Reverie is just the lore drop arc, and these are always super entertaining to watch. It's just like seeing, it's like, you know, like those parts after an arc where like we get updates in the world, we get bounty updates, and this is just that, but an entire arc of it. Like, you get the reveal of Emu, like what? And like we still don't know what's that giant Straw Hat? Is that Joy Boy's Straw Hat? What is that? And like, I think just purely off the reveal of Emu alone was like just crazy. Like, what? It's not just the 5 elders, it's beyond. There's a force at the very, very top. That's crazy. And we get to see all these characters throughout the series interact, like Wapol and Vivi. It was nice to see like Vivi and Rebecca and Shirahoshi bond together. Like 3 people you would never think they would ever like interact, but they're talking about how like Luffy's so cool. I'm like, that's my goat Luffy, you know what I mean? But yeah, just a nice, entertaining like lore drop arc. At number 15, I have Fishman Island. Fishman Island might be this might be a hot take being this high up, but honestly, I think purely off of the Fisher Tiger backstory and just the location itself, I really like the location of Fishman Island. I think it has good vibes, and I had a decent time watching it. Fishman Island seriously wasn't that bad. Sanji in Fishman Island, bro, is by far one of his worst moments in the show, and it's not fun to see it. After 2 years, this is what Sanji's become. It's disappointing. It is disappointing. But let's talk about Fisher Tiger. Fisher Tiger's backstory I liked it a lot. Fisher Tiger's backstory really helped me like understand the fishmen and like what they go through, bro. And like I really like Queen Otohime and her pursuit of peace for Fishman Island and how they want to live under the sun one day. And it's beautiful. You know, but like besides that, Horty Jones, terrible villain, probably might be the worst villain in the entire show. but you know, Red Hawk at the end. It's cool. I like it. I enjoyed it. Number 15. At number 14, I have Jaya, which is by far maybe one of the most underrated arcs in the entire show. It is kind of similar to Reverie, how we kind of see a lot about the world. We see Blackbeard and how people's dreams never end. And you know, we see Shanks and we see Whitebeard for the first time. We see Luffy beat up Bellamy like the one punch. You get to see Marie Joie, and you can see Doflamingo and Kuma for the first time, and how the Seven Warlords are meeting up. You see Lafitte kind of breaking into the Holy Land. They're like, who are you? Like, I'm with the new pirate, Blackbeard. I'm part of the Blackbeard Pirates, and it introduces Blackbeard in like a cool way. It's like, oh, these new kids on the block, and they mean business. Like, this guy just broke into the Holy Land like it was nothing. So it kind of like made Blackbeard look like this guy might be a threat. Like, he killed a member of the Whitebeard Pirates. This guy might be like the real deal, you know? And like, Jai was just purely entertaining. I think it set up Skypiea pretty well too. I really liked it. Number 13, Arlong Park. I think this is by far one of the most overrated arcs, but yet it is still pretty decently up on this list. Honestly, it's just because of Nami's backstory in the scene with Luffy. The fight lacks, I think, but it has such a great build-up, and then the payoff is just not there. I'm sorry. The fight was just not it. I see people putting in like S tier, and it's like, no, bro. Arlong Park is not an S tier. It's like an A tier, maybe a B. But don't ask why it's this high up, because like there's 32 arcs. This is number like 13. But like, I don't know, man. I like it. Arlong Park is solid. You get to see like Nami, Nojiko, and Bellmare, and like that was great stuff. Great stuff. Number 12, Skypiea. So I like literally just rewatched Skypiea like a day ago. Like, I finished it, and it's such a shame that the first half of Skypiea is just so boring. Like, Satori and the ball guy, like, dude. They just, once they got out of the forest at Skypiea, that's when I really started enjoying it. Like, when they're fighting at the ruins and they're like the battle royale survival game with all them fighting together was nice. I like that. Zoro and like the last 4 people facing off against Enel was cool. And then, you know, Enel launching his battleship into the sky, and then before he does that, he sees Luffy's immune to lightning, and like, it's a very grand fight. Like, Luffy's in the sky using a giant golden ball in his hand to destroy Enel and ring the bell in the final moment with like him across like in the sky, and you see Mont Blanc Cricket on the ground, like seeing Luffy's shadow. He's like, yeah, nice job, kid, or I don't know what he said, but like it was a really cool moment. It had not a great build up, but a great payoff. And can we talk about Calgara and Noblin's backstory, which is by far the most underrated backstories? Nobody talks about it. I really fell for that, because Nolan had no clue what happened to Jai, and I was like, dude, he's in the sky. Like, they don't know. He doesn't know that. It's so sad that it just looks like his friend just like left him. Like, the island's just not there anymore. He has no clue what happened to it, and it's hard. Kind of, I felt for that. I don't know. It's a really underrated backstory, underrated arc, overhated. It's just the first half. That's what people think of. That's when people think of Skypiea, they think the first half, and that's just such a shame. The second half is great stuff. At number 11, I have Alabasta. Alabasta is like, for me, one of the first like arcs where I was like, dang, I think I'm gonna have to watch this entire show now. It wasn't like as insanely good, but it was, for me, it was like the first arc where it's just like, okay, I'm in for the long haul. I'm gonna watch this show, bro. When I was watching it, I was on vacation, and I had such a great time on that vacation while I was watching it, so maybe I'm a little biased, but like, I had a fun time. Like, I remember like on a plane, I was watching Zoro versus Mr. One, and I was just like, dang, Zoro cut steel. I thought it was such a cool moment at the time. I just have great memories with Alabasta, so I'm a bit biased. So that's gonna go on my number 11. And I think that the walking through the desert definitely dragged on a little bit, but the ending is nice, especially with Vivi and the Straw Hats like leaving, and they put their arms up like, will you still call me friend next time we meet? That was a great, amazing moment. Like, but yeah, number 11. At number 10, I had Impel Down. So yes, while it is at number 10, I was still slightly disappointed by Impel Down. I was hoping that Impel Down, I heard about it before, and how like some of Luffy's villains come back, And going into it, I was kind of wanting like a prison escape where like Luffy breaks in, he gets captured, and he has to come up with a plan with his past villains to try and break out. But no, he barges in and then barges out, which at the same time, it was entertaining as freak. Bon Clay comes back, and he just, throughout the entire arc, like he drags Luffy through the snow and like, you know, fends off the wolves, and then he sacrifices himself at the end. Like, bro, like, why is he such a goat? Mr. 3 and Buggy are a weirdly amazing duo. Like, an amazing duo. And, like, a lot of the Luffy's villains just coming back was such a cool thing to see. I had a fun time with Impel Down. I was just hoping that it would be more of, like, a planned prison escape and not just them barging in and barging their way out. But it was a nice segue into Marineford. I liked it. Number 9. Thriller Bark. This is probably my hottest take on this entire list. A lot of people don't like Thriller Bark as much. They just say Thriller Bark at the end is great, which it is. It's amazing. Thriller Bark at the end is amazing. But again, memories, bro. Last summer I was watching Thriller Bark and I was just like speeding through it, so it didn't last long. It was not dragged for me. So since I sped through it, and I just had, again, just a really fun time. It's probably the most fun arc. Like Frankie Crank's 90s. We get to see all the Straw Hats fighting together as a group for like one of the only times I can remember. Maybe the first time. Like they're all fighting together as a group. And that was really cool to see their dynamics. Like when they're fighting together. Like you don't usually see that. They're all in their individual little battles and like different parts of the area, but they're all together fighting Oars. And like that was pretty cool. Gecko Moria is Gecko Moria is, bro. Gecko Moria is Gecko Moria. He's not good. I can't even like laugh. He's not funny, so I don't like him because he's funny. He's just not good at all. But Perona is cool. Like Usopp versus Perona, like I'm always negative, and that's the only reason he was able to like Usopp. Again, another MVP moment from Usopp, my goat, my king, God D Usopp. Like, bro, Thriller Bark, and then obviously at the end, nothing happened. Kuma, like an amazing moment, and also Brook's backstory. Can we talk about Brook's backstory? That is by far top 3 backstories in One Piece. Brook's backstory broke me, bro. It was like, dang. It wasn't even Laboon. It was the part where his crew members were dying one by one, and it was just him left, and he's like, a trio, a duet, a solo. I was like, bro, man, Brook's backstory, bro. So yeah, number 9, extremely underrated arc. Now, if Thriller Bark broke me, then Sabaody broke me to pieces and shattered me, because at number 8 I have Sabaody. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it would be a fun arc right before the time skip. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I knew Marineford existed, but I didn't think that like it'd be that devastating at the end. Up until I don't want to say that it's just the end that carries, because up until the very end of Sabaody, it was still a great arc. You get introduced to the supernovas. We see Law and Kid and Luffy fighting together, and that's like a great, fun dynamic. You see, you meet Beppo, we meet Killer, Bonnie, Rouge, Beji, like Hawkins. Like those are all I like all of them. Maybe not Rouge. We don't really know much about him, but then the end. Episode 405 was one of the best episodes in the show. I knew they would come back together, but still, seeing them like one by one disappear was like, oh, like, man, that was just so sad to see Luffy that's the first time we saw him that distraught ever. Like, in the entire show, it's like, dang, this One Piece stuff gets serious. I was like, dude, how are they going to do the show from now on? Up until Marineford, I was like, dude, what are we going to do from here? It was just such a shock, and it's going to have to put it at number 8. It was great. Definitely an S tier arc. And number 7, very fittingly, Water 7. I think Water 7, while it is at the top 10, I think it is a little overrated. But man, I would not stop watching that arc. I was up until like 3 a.m. watching it from I started at like maybe 6 o'clock after dinner. I was like, you know what, let me watch some One Piece. And I did not stop until it was like 4 or 3 a.m. I remember watching Luffy, Zoro, Chopper, and Sanji pull up to Frankie's house and beat everyone. They beat everyone up. That was such a, like, they're sliding for Usopp. That was a great moment. And then obviously the highlight of Water 7, Usopp versus Luffy. One of the most like intense, like it's so much tension, and it's like it was heartbreaking. It's like watching a divorce. It's like, bro, don't fight. And you see the Mary crying. It's like, bro. And like Usopp locked in. That's my GOAT. He never did that ever again. It's because he knows Luffy. He knows his weaknesses, bro. That was an amazing fight. Amazing arc. But after that, I feel like it doesn't ever reach that high again. The second half of Water 7 is just kind of like a murder mystery. Who did that to Icebarg? Oh, wait. It was Rob Lucci and the gang. And we find out about CP9. The water train is nice. So we get introduced to Soga King. Soga King is the GOAT. His theme song goes so hard, bro. Yeah, Water 7, definitely up there. Number 7. At number 6, I have Dressrosa. Dressrosa, I thought, had the potential to become one of the best arcs, but honestly, it was just the end. Specifically when Luffy ran out of energy and they were trying to push back the birdcage. That lasted like, what, 6 episodes of just pushing the birdcage. That was it. Nothing was happening. Nothing. Like, that pissed me off. I was just like, bro, Luffy, get up and just kill Doflamingo at this point. Kill him. Stab him in his neck, bro. Please. Wrap it up. We've been doing this for 100 episodes, and honestly, I had no problems with the pacing up until that point. But up until then, I loved it. I loved Dressrosa, bro. The Coliseum, Kiros and Rebecca's backstory, which, by the way, I don't mind. I heard people complaining about the flashbacks and like how it comes up constantly. I didn't notice it. I thought it was fine. I really liked the backstory and how Doflamingo took over Dressrosa and like manipulated the country and thinking the king did all that. Like that was really like, dang, Doflamingo's evil. And especially, you know, obviously Law's backstory with Corazon was, man, that was great. That was amazing, bro. But not as good as I thought it was. But still, it was really good. And definitely earns a number 6 spot on the list for sure. At number 5, Whole Cake Island, bro. Whole Cake Island was really, really good. Specifically for Sanji. I was so fed up with post-time skip Sanji. And I loved Sanji in this arc. Probably more than any Straw Hat I've ever loved. He has some of the best moments, bro. Like, he has some of the best Straw Hat moments in Whole Cake, bro. Sanji's backstory being expanded was one of the best things Oda ever did. And it just added so much more depth to Sanji's character. Before, he was kind of flat and just boring. But Whole Cake fixed Sanji. He made him... I actually really liked Sanji in that arc a lot. He was amazing. And obviously, Luffy versus Katakuri, while it did drag a little bit, it was a ton of fun. It was a blast. You know, Luffy learning Future Sight, Snake Man, like that was really cool, bro. That was really, I liked Big Mom. Big Mom felt like a threat. Like, dang, she could probably kill Luffy easily. Like this, if Katakuri, the first, like the commander of an emperor, can do this, what can Big Mom do? Like I was like, dang, Big Mom might be kind of OP, you know. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. I really liked Whole Cake. Great writing, great story. Great enjoyment from it. At number 4, I have Enies Lobby. Enies Lobby was the first arc, I'd say, when I was like contemplating, like, dang, this show has a lot of potential going forward now to being my favorite show of all time, which by this point it is, by the way. Enies Lobby was when I was like, dang, One Piece, they got it. It immediately soared its way to the top, some of my favorites of all time, just off of Enies Lobby alone. Rob Lucci versus Luffy is easily top 3 fights in the show. You just, like, you can feel how tired, and that's going to put a pause. Rob Lucci versus Luffy was easily top 3 fights in the show, purely, like, not even because of the animation, which the animation was pretty nice, but, like, you can just feel how tired Luffy was, bro. That dude was exhausted, bro. And it was such an extreme, it could have gone either way. Rob Lucci could have won, Luffy could have won. And it was just so, like, and obviously, Robin. Probably the highlight of the arc. Robin and her backstory. I want to live, bro. Oh my gosh. Like, Soka King, shoot down that flag. Roger. And he shoots down the flag. And he's like, Robin, tell me you want to live. Oh my gosh, bro. I think that the fights with CP9 were a little lackluster, but man, Enies Lobby was when I really fell in love with One Piece. That's like when that was the thing, bro. That was like truly the beginning. That's when I locked in and watched like 10 episodes a day, every single day until I finished the show, bro. At number 3, I have Egghead. Now, I probably would have said Enies Lobby was better than Egghead until I read the manga. The final act of Egghead made me realize that Egghead is just Enies Lobby, but better in every single aspect. Kuma's backstory is by far the best, probably. Okay, maybe not by far, but it is probably the best backstory in One Piece. Egghead has some of the best fights. The 5 elders pulling up and using all their awakened devil fruit abilities is like, are you serious? The 5 elders, all of them pulled up, dude. That seems like Final War type stuff, and it happened in Egghead. Like Vegapunk, you love Vegapunk, bro. It's Vegapunk. He's awesome, bro. Like, Egghead was amazing. I loved it, bro. And I really like seeing that one part in Egghead where we kind of get a view of what's going on outside of Egghead with Garp and Aokiji or Kuzan, whatever you want to call him, man. And like, I really like seeing what's going on around the world besides not just Egghead. And like, we get a lot of reveals. A lot of reveals about what's going on in this world where it happened in Egghead. I'm not going to say because it's not in the anime yet, but there was a lot of reveals. A lot. And it was really interesting to see that. So definitely number 3 for sure. At number 2, I have Marineford. Again, somehow, even though it's at number 2, it is a tad overhyped. But dude, oh my gosh, the past 500 episodes were all leading up to that arc, and boy, I gotta say, it paid off. Where do I even start with Marineford? Yeah, a lot of it was running around, but dude, it is 30 episodes of just straight fighting, and like, it's not just a fighting arc. I think it was really heartbreaking, not just because of not just because of that, but also just because of like all the soldiers that are dying. I really like Kobe's speech. Kobe's speech is like what really put it into perspective of how crazy what was happening. People were dying. A lot of people were dying. This was a big event, and like, this was not good. This was a terrible event in history. And like, bro, Marineford, bro. Like, it felt so epic, and like, it was so fun watching everything unfold, and like all the setup that's been happening for the past 500 episodes just pay off in a giant war between pirates and marines. And it was just, seeing Luffy and Whitebeard interact was so fucking cool. I don't want to overuse these words, but it was so cool. Like, number 2, Marineford, bro. At number 1, Wano. Dude, Wano is what cemented One Piece as my favorite show of all time. No questions. Attack on Titan might come close. Breaking Bad, Vinland Saga, Gurren Lagann, those might come close. Maybe. But dude, Wano, Marineford felt like the entire 500 episodes up to that point were leading to. Wano felt like this is what the entire show was leading up to. It was such a grand arc that I can't, like, it felt like a movie. It had acts to it. It had Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. Odin's backstory, up there for sure. Top 5, maybe top 3, dare I say. Like, there's only been one day where I watched like 20, like maybe like 24 episodes in a day. I watched the entirety of Odin's backstory in a single day. I was so invested in Wano And I had school during this, and I was still putting up crazy numbers by watching like episodes. Like, I was watching so much with school. I dedicated my entire life to One Piece when I was watching Wano at that point. Like, it was, dude, I don't even know where to begin. It's 190 episodes, bro. Roof Piece is like one of the best eras in the show, bro. I don't give a crap if Luffy versus Kaido was like 60 episodes. It was, every moment I saw of it, it was peak, bro. Zoro versus King might be the best fight in the show. Maybe. Luffy versus Kaido also, maybe. You know, like, I don't want to just talk about Roof Piece. I think Roof Piece is definitely kind of talked about a lot, and not a lot about Act 2 and Act 1. Act 2 in the prison was like, I had a lot, dude, I don't want to say it, but I had a lot of fun. I had so much fun. The most fun in the prison. Like, it was so, that's kind of what I wanted from Impel Down. I wanted a prison break. Like, that was pretty cool. Like, Luffy learning that new advanced Conqueror's Haki, or advanced armament Haki, Rio. And like Act 1, seeing the animation change, and like how like we haven't seen Zoro and Robin and Usopp and Frankie, and we haven't seen those dudes in so long, and it was just so refreshing to see them again. And like, bro, Kaido, Big Mom, Law, Kid, all the new characters, the Akazaya 9, bro, Kinemon, and we already saw them in Punk Hazard, but like Kinemon, freaking I don't remember their names. Dogstorm, Cat Viper, the pink hair dude, Ashura Doji, I think that's his name is. Kiku, the green toad guy. Like, bro, they were so nice. And like, Orochi's terrible. He's trash, but like, that's the point. So I can't really like hate on this character. He's okay character, but like, you just hate him. But like, Wano, bro. Wano is the best arc in anime. And that's not glaze. I don't glaze, okay? I'm pretty harsh on One Piece, I'd say. This is the best arc in not just One Piece, but in anime itself. The GOAT of arcs, the GOAT of fiction, Wano is my number one. Alright, so that's my ranking. I'm correct. If you say I'm not, you're wrong, because I am right. My ranking is correct. And yeah, One Piece, I freaking like it. I like it a lot, man. It changed my life. It actually changed the direction of my life, bro. I have so much love for this show, and a little bit of hate for it. Punk Hazard, bro. Sir Village, bro. Buns. Cheeks. But yeah. Drop a like.